grandson dropped his new album Inertia. This one was interesting because Glory and I have had very differing opinions on the singles thus far. I have enjoyed the rollout. Glory, on the other hand, has not enjoyed the rollout. These are all out there on the internet over the past few months as this album has come out. And this record's very interesting to me because Grandson is an artist that me personally I've had quite the history with in terms of starting out being and this was when Glory was really into Grandson showing me these songs and me being like, yeah, no, I am not a fan of this at all. Hard pass. I don't like it. It was very like 21 Pilots esque, and that's why I feel Glory gravitated towards it. It revolved in that same vein and that same sound, and I was not a huge fan of it. And then we had him on the podcast about I Love You, I'm Trying, and I feel like that album was a sonic shift for him, and I was really into that record. It was obviously an honor to have him on here to talk about it, and that definitely aided in me enjoying the album. But just sonically, like from the first single, not even knowing that we were going to have an opportunity to speak to him, I was like, this is a step up from the artist that Gloria has been showing me for the past few years, being like, this is cool, you should like this. And this album is kind of an amalgamation of all of those sounds, including like him doing like some things that I personally haven't heard him do before. There's a lot of previous eras of Grandson in here, but there's also some heavier moments, some moments that feel very rap rock coded in like a Limp Bizkit style without the Limp Bizkit vocals or lyrics, of course, because this record's a lot more serious.
I was gonna say
anything Fred Durst has ever touched, but I'm just saying rap rock and then going for the most obvious choice of rap rock new metal band out there, but I do feel like there's some heavier moments on this record that I haven't heard Grandson do in the past, while also blending everything that I have heard him do in the past. So this record's very interesting to me because, like I said, last record was such a departure from the previous sound that I had known him for, and then he's kind of bringing it back together and all tying it together and making like the ultimate Grandson record in his current form. I like what the record has to say. I think it's very important in this political climate for him to put out an album like this, and I've really appreciated all of the social media commentary that's come alongside of it on Instagram and Twitter and TikTok and all that, where I've seen him posting and being very outspoken, which I think is necessary.
He's always been he's always been very outspoken.
He's always been very outspoken, but I almost feel like, and maybe it's because I'm following him a little bit more, he's like turned it up to 11 this time around because of all the chaos that's going on, and I really do appreciate that. I think we need artists like that in this current day and age, that are very clearly not pandering to an audience, but are very authentic in the way they do it, and I think he is very authentic in the way he does it, so I appreciate that. And I do think that this album is very solid. Self-Immolation has actually been stuck in my head for most of the day. I know that was a single, but that song, in my opinion, is very catchy. Who's the Enemy is an absolute banger. Pull the Trigger is the closer. Absolutely rips. You Made Me This Way. God Is an Animal. Like, there are a lot of really solid cuts off this album. I dug it. I wasn't entirely sure where I was going to lean, considering the single rollout was a little all over the place and did showcase a good chunk of what this album was going to do, so I'm not going to fault him for that. But it was a little all over the place, and I wasn't entirely sure I was going to feel, considering we're going back to some sounds that I wasn't a massive fan of going into Grandson. And overall, I think he really pulled it off, and this album's solid.
That's fair. So as you said before, I was the one kind of like trying to get you into Grandson. I mean, granted, that was like 6 years ago.
That was a long time ago. I remember it. I remember it because I was trying not to be an asshole about the fact that I just did not like a single thing you were showing me.
I was like, no, please, I swear.
I was trying to be a friend,
But now you're just like, this shit sucks. Don't send me this. So I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. So to be completely honest, I was not the biggest fan of this record. I do like Grandson. I think he is, as I said, I think he's always been incredibly outspoken on um everything going on in the world. I mean, he uses his platform for good, in my opinion, for just keeping people aware of what's going on, and he always speaks on it, and he shares his thoughts and his feelings, and I think it's great. And I think he's utilizing it perfectly. Um, but to be completely honest, I mean, I just wasn't a fan. I wasn't a fan of the sound of the record. I think the contents of it have always, I mean, the contents of all of his music have always revolved around um, just the political climate and just just shit, period. So I think the contents of it still great. I think it's still well written, but it's just the sound of it. I'm not the biggest fan of. I didn't like it. Um, I think, as you said, it touches a lot of different sonics. I think it jumps around a lot, but it I liked him for kind of like his darker stuff. I really liked the last record, which I don't think was like as dark as I'm remembering, but I'm thinking, the 2019 stuff to then like just stuff before this one. But yeah, I don't want to like shit on it because I still think lyrically and conceptually it's a great record, but just sonically
Not doing it for you.
it's not doing it for me. And I said this during when we were reviewing the singles. I was like, it's just not. He's going a different direction, and that's completely fine, and that's what I expect of artists. But it is just not a direction I will be following.
Fair enough. He'll be headlining off the back of this record for the fall into the winter time. So peep the dates. I know there's US, Europe, UK dates all announced. So peep those dates. Check to see if he's coming near you. There's a lot of dates out there. So I'm sure if you want to see him, you'll be able to find something.